So I'm quite familiar with Fail Better Games. I think we all are. Fail Better Games makes some really good stuff. Sunless Skies and Sunless Sea. They've made like this whole world that they have created with this whole fallen London and this sort of post-apocalyptic but steampunk sort of, I guess is it steampunk? Setting that they have. And within this setting in Fallen London here, it all started with, what was the first one, the free one they put out? Was that Fallen London? Is that what the name of it was? It was like a free little choose your own adventure kind of game narrative thing. But they've built this whole lore about this setting that they've got, and now they've got multiple games in it. The Fallen London universe, yeah. And now they're putting out a game called Mask of the Rose. It is a marvelous romance with a hint of murder, is what we're playing here. Lose your heart to a stolen city in the game of amorous intrigue. Seek love for yourself or your friends. Help a murdered man find justice and watch out for the bats. So, a Valentine's Day surprise. That's right. It is Valentine's Day. Perfectly planned. If I had planned it, then yes, that is perfectly planned. So it's coming out October or November, but there is a demo out as we speak. And I'm looking forward to it, even though it is nothing like I have ever played before. I'm not a dating sim kind of a person. But we're going to see how it goes. There is no... this might be a little weird on the screen. Let me see if I can find a good way of capturing this. That one. This should capture all right. I'll just... How's that look? Yeah, it looks all right. Make text size big. Okay. Okay, so a lot of talking going on here. Internet's finest text-based alternate history role-playing game. There you go. Fallen London. If you've not played Fallen London before, it's good stuff. All right, let's begin. I really don't know what we're getting into here, but it's by Fail Better Games, and I'm looking forward to playing it. So in February 1862, with no warning at all, London fell through the surface of the earth. This was meant to be a year of progress in industry. The Great Exposition, trams, a new sewer system. Instead, we find ourselves dwelling in a cave. It's October now. The fires have been put out. The bodies have been buried. But the future remains unimaginable. The time before, impossibly distant. So, who are we? Are we an arcane academic? We studied esoteric writings, the hierarchies of spirits, the language of the angels, practical powers of creation. We got friends in high places. Or we can be a dock worker's child. My father worked at docks unloading ships. My uncle was a sailor. We're on the right side of the law, but the same couldn't always be said for our friends. So docks are allied with the working class and with criminals. Yeah, we'll be a dock worker. That's me. Yeah. Down here, your name is whatever you say it is. Often no one's left to remember who you used to be. Some people hold tight to the names they've carried before. Some reinvent themselves completely. Okay, what do you refer to me as? There's as many as you want. People refer to me as be brother Dinty, they call me. I'll be Nook. Brother Nook. That suits me. That's me. Nook to my friends, brother to strangers. Remember that. That's how I was addressed. So that's how I was addressed even before London fell. I'm a new person now. New city, new person. Down here, finally able to use a name that always fit me. No, I'm a different person now down here than I was above. I am going to be this guy over here. Oh, that guy has a monocle. Oh yeah, we gotta go with a monocle. That guy. That's me. In the Neath, a true ally means everything. When I find people to be close to, I am looking for friendship, attraction rather than romance rather than attraction, or both romance and attraction. I mean, it's Valentine's Day, and we got to get in the spirit of the holiday, Romance and attraction. That's what we're looking for today. So they call me Brother Nook. I'm looking for passionate romance. We'll see how this goes. I'm happy with this. I'm cautiously happy about this. Right now, I'm meant to be helping with the census, finding out who still lives in my neighborhood. The first census results are due tomorrow. If I turn them in, I get paid. The first money to come my way in nearly 2 months. If I don't, I'm going to disappoint Grizz badly. Thanks, Jeff. She knew I was in trouble, so she went out of her way to find me work with her own employers. She even gave me a badge to show off my affiliation. Ooh, thanks. Looks like a constable badge. Fancy. I keep it with the clothes I have from before the fall, and a few odd items I found more recently. Let's change me old outfit out. Very family-oriented, that's right. So we need a hat. Yeah, we want one of those. With mushrooms on top, of course. We're going barefaced. I would like a lapel. Yeah, put that on. Yeah. What'd that say? Looks like a constable's badge with the lion and unicorn blazoned on it. The back of the badge is some kind of symbol I don't recognize. Hot to the touch. Interesting. And then, we'll wear coatless. No, we'll wear our coat. Everything wear our seafaring, even if there's not much option of that in here. Yeah, I'm good with that. Ah, I thought you were here. She glances at the badge I'm wearing. I suppose I should be glad you're thinking about the census, even though you didn't get around to leaving the house. I reacted to that the way I reacted to many things these days. I lie. You told me the census papers would not be needed until next week. I adjust my monocle. I couldn't possibly have said that. I was sure I told you to start immediately. Come tomorrow evening, we need to have at least a few census forms filled out, or I'm going to be the one explaining to Mr. Pages. And if that happens, I'm not going to help you with your employment prospects again. Chris works for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. It seems to agree with her. She wears trousers to work and comes home at all hours. She wears pants. It's very important to her being taken seriously by those employers. The next thing I do is characteristic, too. I flatter her. I boast that it'll only take me a day, or invent a story that will make me seem honest. Yeah, I lie. I'm terribly sorry, Grizz. I did try earlier today. I went out with the census papers, but as I was passing through the courtyard, I saw something in the sky. Oh? What was that? A great comet signaling that there's an astrologically unpropitious time for taking the census? A huge creature with wingspan like an albatross and eyes like St. Elmo's fire diving at me. Astonishing. And then what? You appear unwounded. I see no bite marks on your person. I don't know what happened next. I think I must have fainted. How fortunate that the creatures did not seize your limp body and carry you off in that case. I don't think she believed. You don't believe me? I neither believe you nor disbelieve you. Good answer, Mom. But I would prefer not to hear a similar tale tomorrow. What do you think of the questions? I haven't read the questions yet. I only glanced at the sheet of paper. They're written in the most peculiar spiked handwriting, and there are punctures in the paper in random spots. And we're not telling the truth. Yeah, stream title. Got it. Don't interrupt my lying. Okay. Mask of... What's this? Mask of... What's it called? Mask of the Rose? Fallen Lemon, sure. Okay, that one. Okay. I'll tease her a little bit. Goodness, is that how you write? My governess used to say that if penmanship ought to be bold, free, and elegant, I'd only get as far as a lesson 1. That's not how. That is not a sample of my own work. My employers wrote out the list themselves. Ministry is short on clerks. Here, try the question on me. Say you've just knocked on the door and I have to come answer it. Yes? What do you want? I'll introduce myself. Yeah. Good evening. On behalf of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting, I have a few questions. Oh, how lovely. I'm so grateful these ministries are looking after us. Challenge her performance. Straightforwardly accept her performance. Flirtatiously rip off how excellent the ministry is. Yeah, yeah. I agree. Everyone you meet with there is so good looking. Clever, too. Yes, yes. I know what your compliments are worth when you're trying to get out of trouble. First question. How many people live in this establishment? Establishmentation. Is that a word? Establishmentation? Superiors are enthusiastic embellishers of the language. If you like, you can translate into questions that are more likely to be understood. Right. How many people live in this establishment? 4. The landlady, Miss Horatia Chapman, young man named Archibald, myself, and a 4th character, very disreputable. Invent a Mr. Chapman, build trust. Suggests she might not be the picture of respectability herself. Let's invent a Mr. Chapman. And of course, there's Mr. Chapman. He lives elsewhere in London. No, surely not. Horatio's never been married. Has she? What's going on? She just uses the Mrs. for respect, as she's too old to be Miss. Okay, next question. Is anyone in this establishment enamoricated or impassioned? What does this even mean? I'm asking if anyone here is in love. Just ask that. Is anyone here in love? No. What kind of question is that? Whether she's sure about... Oh, are you sure about me? I might be in love with someone. It's bold of you to speak for me. Very well. Write down whatever romantic confessions you like. I'll look in the other direction. Preserve your privacy. At this moment, a second visitor walks in. Archie is a medical student. He hadn't finished his training before the fall, but he has plenty of work now. I wondered where you were. What you need, Archie? What are you looking for? Something that needs explaining. Out I went this morning to visit a patient, and what do I find pasted up on the wall? He holds up a broadsheet. And there's a new decree from the Ministry of Cartography and Chirography that all maps and atlases are to be surrendered or put in the fire. It's your folk making these rules, Grizz. I'm staying out of this. I have no view. Will ye be asking your Mr. Pages about these maps? Mr. Pages expects some loyalty from his people. None of us know what's safe down here in the Neath. Most likely there are reasons you can't imagine. Nook, please do collect at least a few census forms by tomorrow. At the end of the day, I'll find you and we can take them to Mr. Pages together. She gives me a long look before she goes. Aye. Well, next time, I'll not come in without knocking. Might be I'll cough a few times so the two of you can separate. Oh, my. I'll keep my own counsel. Not everything that's said needs answering. You think she'd let me meddle with her precious ministry or Horatia? When she'd let me so much as send a petition to ask if they could get a message to my family. Said it might be an impertinence and a danger to her position. But she'll let you talk to them. Oh, aye. She might have the look of being fierce. But if she was to choose someone and then her heart was to be broken, it might be a disappointment, or it might be meeting with a thing she couldn't plan. But she'd be sadder than a hanged cat. Sadder than a hanged cat. Let's talk about the census. Grizz has me gathering census pages for the ministry. Aye, Grizz told me it was some such thing. I meant to fill a page with answers to questions about you. What questions would you like to be? Yeah. Well, let's talk about your employment. We'll leave your heart out of this. We'll rely on what I already know. We'll just lie, Archie was a medical student before the fall. Since then, he's been providing his services to everyone in the neighborhood who happens to have broken a limb, or trouble sleeping, or a morbid fear of spiders. He had a lot to do. Some of it even pays. Are we done with this foolishness? I'm going to go sleep. Oh, I'll give him a question. We'll ask him a question. I guess we're going to ask about matters of the heart as well. Flirtatiously ask about his equipment. Exact wording. That's how we do things around here. Are you, yeah, that one. Down here? Nah. What about before February? There was a lass back home, and what What did me mother do but promise me to her? Well, she's a fortunate young lady. That's kind of you to say, but she's a good lass. That is everything I need. Sleep well, then, will ya? Okay. Okay. We'll see where this goes. Newspapers aren't what they used to be, but someone is still printing broadsheets these days. Archie brought one, and the headlines read, Marchionus accused of liaisons with squid-faced men. Rumors of octopod heir to the marquisate. Okay. Let's head outside. Boarding house. We got St. Albans Protomartyr. This is where I'm at right now, right? Let's go there. St. Alban was the first English martyr, a point of considerable pride to the local vicar. It's the church of our parish. Let's get a census going on. St. Albans. Yeah. This is the closest church to Horatius. Come occasionally. I've never darkened this door before. I see the masters are meddling with affairs of the church. Introduce myself with a magnificent lie. I go, what? It's not a lie. Theophilus Witherwick. It's a Yorkshire name. Time was when my family owned everything your eye could see around here. That's right. And then then fell on hard times, I see. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'll read the questions. That's your employment. Bring up the topic by volunteering information about myself. Yeah. Until I found this position with the ministry, I had no employment. The fall cut me off from prior occupations. From time to time, I've considered offering myself as a tutor to some enterprising pupils. My Greek and Latin grow rusty. But I never put the plan into practice. Now, as we see, education of the young is no longer a primary concern in the best houses. Next. How about your household organization? So make it clear, this is for the census. Census also asked me to record whether you live alone. I live alone in the rooms provided for the vicar of this parish. There is a woman who comes twice a week to clean. Or there was. Her visits have been more erratic of late. Okay. Next. Let's talk about your heart, sir. Flirtatiously. About his romantic connections. Let's keep it to the, you know. Are you married? Have you been married in the past? I was married. The lady was 2 or 3 years older than myself. Very sensible and capable woman. Her name was Anne. Now, what happened? Anne was no longer with you? It's a sad but not unusual tale. It's my authority to bully the guy. No, don't bully the guy. Come on now. I'll invent a fabulous tale of my reliability in all manners. Before the fall, I had a good bit of confidential business in a very large shipping concern. Any little disagreements they couldn't clear up by the way of the solicitors, they'd send me. Oh? You wouldn't believe the things I've seen, kept my mouth shut all about. I'll not risk it. Something has landed on the roof. Looks down at us through the gaping hole above. Oh, what? Its eyes are glittering. What? Bat. Pretend as hard as possible that there's nothing to fear. Don't worry. Population of bats is excessive of late. The old plagues included frogs and locusts, but not bats. I can help feeling that our maker is improving upon his former tricks. You're not much comfort. Aren't figures meant to be comfort in a time of trial? I find one cannot offer what one does not oneself possess. Have a good one, Scold. And thanks, Meat Puppet, for the follow. It's landed there a few times before, especially when the choir is practicing. Well, you know, I've shot bigger beasts. You know, not so very large. An elephant rifle would put a final end to its life. Elephants do not have claws. A tiger might be a better point of comparison. A tiger with the gift of flight. The thing up there is gone. The Tenterground synagogue's in better condition than our little church. I wonder whether that signifies the direction of divine approval. Okay, we found a new place, the synagogue. You got anything else to talk about? Time for you to go. And for me to pray for patience. Alright. One more errand today before supper. Yeah, I want to go back out. I want to be in this room. Let's go to the synagogue. Yeah. People outside here? Sir, ma'am. Appear over my badge. I'm not familiar with that ministry. It's new. We are on our way to services, so it's not a suitable time for ministry business. Right here. I'll speak with this person. It won't take long. Magnificent lie, of course. Nook. Miss Landau. Rachel Simcha Landau. She has the first name and watches me significantly as though I'm supposed to have heard of her. I'm Rachel's brother, David Landau. Other Londoners might not recognize the hint of Iberia, but I've heard just about every accent to come through the wharfs. Whatever his last name, I would guess he grew up among the Spanish and Portuguese Jews. Time was when my family owned everything you or I can see around here. That's me. Yeah. It seems that good fortune is now past. What can we do for you? Says David. This is a Hallowmas tradition. I've come for the Feast of Hallowmas, the Festival of Confessions, and the Answering of Questions. Lately there have been a great many itinerant confessors accepting small coin to listen to anyone's woes. Some are priests whose churches have fallen down. Others call themselves Sabbateans, world renewers, dissenters, all sorts of things. Extraordinary. Crack babbling about some foolish lie. The tradition goes back to Babylon. I'll answer your questions. Rachel, this isn't proper. I'll answer your questions, brother. If you answer mine, call it character research. Are you having peculiar dreams down here? What? Talk up the lurid misery of my nightmares. Yeah, let's talk about that one. In truth, my nightmares have become so extreme that I barely dare to sleep. When I close my eyes, I sense the dreadful malevolent presence. I asked for your feelings, not your recitation of your favorite Christmas ghost story. Rachel, it was only the answer to a question. Trust me, I interrupted just before we reached the dreadful clanking of the ominous chains, or perhaps a lidless stare of serpent eyes. I have forgotten until now, but I have dreamed of a snake that watched me in my sleep, while all my limbs were heavy and too paralyzed to move. I try to remember what it means, but the thought is gone again. Go ahead with your questions, brother. What do you mean by character research? I write novels. They're published, one chapter at a time, in the Lily of London magazine. I was in the midst of one when the fall happened. My publisher insisted that I continue the story, despite all. Rachel, are you certain you want to share so much? Does it matter? Surely those precautions are behind us. What's your inspiration for being a novelist? Do you know? It was another Yom Kippur, many years ago. Our family gathered to break the fast. My Landau cousins at one side of the table, my mother on the other. The little Landau, so devout, scandalizing my mother with, she would say, their low manners. My mother, in turn, scandalizing the Landaus by seeming so almost English, with her lax views on kashrut. Each side unaware of how horribly it was affronting the sensibilities of the other. In such a moment, you either retire to your room or compose a savage Romana clef, or you throw open the window, lean out, and scream. Those are the only possibilities. Rachel does herself an injustice. She writes with real sympathy. You haven't always described it that way. I simply wish you would draw less extensively from life. I'll pull off the old notebook. We'll start with, we can ask either one of them. He doesn't seem to want to talk. We'll ask her, and then we'll see what he says. Making it clear for this is for the census, or the exact wording of the original census question. Oh, we'll try the old flirtatious thing. We'll try it. How many people live in your house? Who else lives in your household? Our home contains myself, my brother, and our housekeeper. It isn't a grand establishment. Okay. How flirtatious I am. We had a Jewish housekeeper for many years, but she passed away, and Phoebe had lost her place with a neighbor of ours. For a moment, no one speaks. Rachel brings up a legend common amongst the servant classes that the Neath contains many other fallen cities. They say if you travel far enough through the cave, you'll find the ruins of Kittiz. And if you walk 3 times the circumference of the cave, counterclockwise, you'll come to the palace of the Queen of Sheba. I think David is what's up with that? No one has discovered even an edge of the cave yet. She's not meant to be easy to find. I'll make up an astonishing story concerning myself. Yeah. My own tale includes twice as much danger and 3 times as many infamous personages. I wonder, what's with the hands behind your back? What's that all about? I'll say nothing for a moment. Short silence. Rachel turns to the subject of the curious way that crows react to masks. That's a weird thing to talk about. I'm going to say a more astonishing story about myself. My own tale includes twice as much mystery and 3 times as many encounters with royalty. I'm a one-upper. I wonder. Say nothing for a moment. Silence falls. Then he relates a story about one of the many philanthropic institutions he patronizes, and its efforts to assist the Neath man. Another astonishing story. Is that so? Yes. Okay, I'll take a question from my notebook. What is this? Oh, they're not here. We'll talk about his employment before we get to the hearts. So, let's make this clear for the census, buddy. What's your employment? He's not on board. We have money in the funds and the interests in several businesses in London and elsewhere. The time was when I used to be very busy in answering letters from Livorno, from Amsterdam. These days, my time is not so extensively occupied. Okay. We'll go with we'll ask him about his heart, then we'll ask her about her heart. We'll make his clear about the census. He's got a nice scarf. For the census, what is your romantic status? Married? Betrothed? In love? Thanks for turn 1. And rapscallion? Not recently. I was in love once, or so I imagined. Charlotte, she and David had an understanding. She converted, in any case. Becoming Christian suited her social aspirations. Rachel. Yes. I take leave to dislike your unworthy suitors as heartily as you dislike mine. Milton is a yellow-eyed, flash-dressed, hot-handed creature at least 2 decades too old for my sister. I hardly think he and Charlotte are comparable. Let's get some more information. Laugh at it. Tell me about this old guy. Oh dear, the rules of polite society have broken somewhat in the fall, haven't they? Nothing of the sort. Milton is an artistic inspiration. If you are not a writer yourself, brother, you cannot guess how much the fall has disrupted our sort of work. Characters have certain tastes, certain preferences, certain prejudices. All I need to do is imagine them in new circumstances, and their reactions right themselves. But now, we've all been lost, at least a little bit cracked by the fall. How does anyone behave? Who can say? You always said you wrote from observation. You can still observe. Since the fall, there's no pattern in what I see. It's only home that makes sense to me, and I cannot make my whole novel about a brother and sister lighting candles at Shabbat. Why not? My publisher wouldn't tolerate it. The Lily of London wouldn't print it. The rest of the world must come into somehow. Milton helps me sort the rest of the world. He can't make sense of anything, even a viscountess running down the street in her peignoir. This is the least confusing thing that has happened since we arrived here. Let me say, Nook, Milton smokes rose-scented cigars. He helps me. Take her and Milton's side. Let's get a question from the book. Rachel! Flirtatiously, you know, a little wink and a nudge. Are you married? Otherwise promised? Are you in love? No, I wouldn't say that. Milton is only a friend. Just as well, too. In other times before, you would never have darkened the door of such a person. Say nothing for a moment. The whole silence. Oh, what are you doing there? Oof, says David. Are you all right? It's just my stomach again. I would have thought today of all days when I haven't eaten anything, it wouldn't trouble me. Tomorrow we must find you a doctor. Even if we have to choose someone we don't already know. I'm a doctor. Assist them wherever they're going. Oh, yeah. I'll help you. May I lend a hand if you're not feeling well? Thank you. But I'm not yet too ill to walk. We only have a short distance to go. She nods toward the building behind her. Oof! We must go. Everything's always running too slowly, and every day is the same. Goodbye, then. Perhaps we'll meet on some other occasion. We're often in this neighborhood now. At this point, I go back to Horatius. Ooh, is it eating time? Grizz is waiting for me. Whatever census forms you have already, it is time to take them to Mr. Page's. I'm ready. Can we eat first? No, I'm famished. Mr. Page has been expecting these all day. He's eager to see what you've made of the collection. Once I've shown you how to reach the ministry, you can come back on your own and turn in others. Grizz has me gather my papers. With luck, Mr. Pages will decide to keep you on. With that, she leads me outside and along down a side street that is no longer named. The way is serpentine, through streets that do not seem to lead towards the spires at the center of the city. But each time I look up, it is closer, the spired building on the horizon. Finally, we find ourselves standing in the shadow under its walls. Before us is a low door that once, I think, belonged to a solicitor's office. Grizz takes out a key, made of something other than metal, and unlocks that door. Mind the pile of papers. I've already sorted them 3 times. Mr. Page is particular about the ordering of documents. Now, where's he gone? Usually he's here by this time of day. Whoa. Ah, there you are. What? We're just coming to bring you the census documents. A first installment of many, I'm sure. Mr. Pages, may I present Nook? Nook, this is Mr. Pages. The whole Ministry of Accounting and Recounting is under Mr. Pages' direction. Stand back, make no sudden moves. Mr. Page is extremely tall, and his arms are very long. Grizz, reassure your timidation underclerk. Mr. Pages has a surprisingly high voice for someone who's so large. You're completely safe here, Nook. No, what have you brought us? I'll give you the Theophilus. There you go, that guy. Most intrigent. Gives me a shiny penny for my trouble. What? It's newly minted and has a portrait on the back of someone who is certainly not the queen. The face on the back of the coin stares at me until the hair prickles on my neck. It reminds me of a debt owed. And I don't want to remember. And my breath hitches and slows and resumes. Grizz specifies the existence of holy men who were wedded to the church. This one appears to have been wedded to a woman only. A disappointment, though. We thank you. It might have been something more. He contemplates the final sheet of the census form again. What else is there? I don't want to give you. I'll give you Archie next. Takes a penny out from a jar. Okay, now there are other coins in here. And a few things that aren't even coins. Buttons, pearls, probably false. A horse head carved from ivory or bone. We are grateful for your assistance. We did not expect much from Archie. Undercon Grizz, having already relevated that he is a lightless character. you have anything more? I'll give you David's. Mr. Pages takes the census page eagerly and spends some time scanning it. Something is looking for, something that it keeps looking for that it cannot find. It seems he cares for his sister more than for any other. Do you have anything more? There you go. Mr. Pages pays 2 pennies. Then it puts the census page and a stack of others much like it. It weighs the stack down with a paperweight. If I look too hard at the paperweight, my eyes sting. It looks through the sheets of the form in its usual way. Doesn't find much to interest it in the account of Rachel's romantic life. It is much more intrigued by her employment. She invents love stories from nothing. There are any number of novels printed every year in London. The price of paper was recently reduced. These stories we will acquire. If they are suitable, then we will also acquire the authoress. Maybe you should use the word hire, not acquire. Surely you mean hire the authoress. You refer to mere employment or rentification, no? Mr. Pages, I have a few questions of my own. What about these maps you're so scared about? Why are you outlawing maps? We need them more than ever. London isn't arranged where it used to be. I believe the ministry intends to resurvey the territory. In the meantime, it wouldn't do, to have people using fallacious maps. The territory of all the neath is disposificated towards lying still. What does that mean? I beg your pardon. I suppose it must be a reference to the seismic activity. Perhaps there's a concern that further events will disturb the arrangement of London's streets. And, now I think on it, in those circumstances, the existence of inaccurate maps might cause alarm. Perhaps better not to create in the population an expectation of consistent layout. That strange building in the middle of London, looming over us. Do you mean the bazaar? Consider it a new center of exchangery. How did it get built so fast? Overnight. Or was it here already and London fell on top of it? The bazaar has been here since before the first city. London is a 5th city. And on that note, we'll just leave it be. Grace accompanied me out again when it was time to go. As we made our way back to Horatia's, she asked me what I think of Mr. Pages. Oh yeah, he's great. She tries to make it sound like an idly curious question. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's great. Great guy. I found him charming and pleasant. She pauses, surprised, but takes the lie at face value. Before we go back inside the house, she reminds me. We have many more people in the neighborhood to survey for the census. You know how it's done, no? So you can collect them and take them to Mr. Pages yourself. I have other duties, and I may not always be there, but Pages is, well, I'm certain you won't be harmed if you visit the ministry on your own. That's a weird thing to say. You have feelings for this Mr. Pages fella? I get the impression that you have an affection for Mr. Pages. I'm not inclined to indulge you, and you've given me no reason to. By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. Can I eat now? Get out of the way, I want to eat. Archie's already at the table when I arrive. When he sees me come in, he gives a guilty start and scoops some of his stew back into the tureen. Tureen? Took more than I'd right to, but I've not eaten any yet today. Apologies. Well, leave some for me. Something but don't have any stew. Sniff at what's in the tureen, shrug, and take a bite. Okay. I'm too hungry to decline my dinner just because it took a sojourn in someone else's bowl. There was a lass who asked me to come around and look at her brother, a Jewish family. They usually go to their own doctor, but he's out of service and ran away, something of that ilk. Their old synagogue was destroyed in the fall, so they moved to the Tintergrounds synagogue. Rachel and David Landau. David has a stomach complaint. Chronic. Perhaps they have trouble cooking anything palatable. It isn't easy these days with what we have, says Horatia. My sister's a beauty. She wouldn't leave the room while I saw to her brother. Oh, what was Rachel doing? Oh, sorry. Is that unusual? What was she doing? She kept watching me while I worked, making notes in her wee book. Felt as if I was being marked on my bedside manner. And the brother? Will he live? Oh, for a bit, I thought I might be serious. But what he needs is his stomach settled. Now, let me tell you about this freaky guy I met today. Grace took me to meet to the ministry. Her employer wears a cloak like a highwayman and keeps offices like a solicitor. Oh, yeah? Is the ministry very grand? I wouldn't say grand so much as extremely unnerving. They must be well-to-do if they've food enough to feed all of London. I'm not sure Grizz is wise to work there. I nae like the sound of them. It does sound unusual. I admit, some of Grizz's stories gave me a turn, but you mustn't be too quick to judge. These people at the ministry might have different ways from ours. I'm just going to be quiet and eat. The first few days weren't bad. People had food in their pantry still, old loaves of bread, leftover joints. But nothing new was coming into the markets. No new fish, no vegetables from the farms. By this time, our plates were empty. Horatio stands and begins putting dishes away. Okay, next day. I'm intrigued. Despite everything, there has been still broadsheets printed. Headlines today read, Missing baby found in vast basement spiderweb. Masters urge calm. What? Let's go outside. We got the bazaar over there. I guess we're going to go to the bazaar, because that's where we live. We don't need to go there. Ministry offices are tucked up snugly under that unexplained and very un-English tower. Let's go there when Grizz isn't around. Let's do some snooping. Grizz has already shown me once how to visit the ministry. It's not hard for me to return on my own. Mr. Page is at its desk when I come in. He raises his head and looks at me without saying anything. Ugh. You do not appear to have brought any amplified forms with you. Perhaps the nature of the job was not made clear. Blame Grizz. I'm afraid Grizz did not explain very well. I believe I do understand now, however. Let's get a good look around. This looks like a repurposed law office. The shelves, the desk, the paperwork, it could be any ordinary solicitor office. But a few things look wrong when I attend to them. Paperweight on Mr. Page's desk, it makes my eyes sting to look at. We advised against looking too long. Those that aren't careful may be troubled with nightmares. Enough of our conversation. Be gone! It's time to run another errand before supper. Where do I go? No one else to go outside, is there? Let's see. We've been to all these places. We can go back and talk to them again. Let's go back. We go to Horatia or Harjeet outside. Let's go to find Harjeet. Harjeet turned up at this as the constable of the streets right around the time London fell. I didn't see him around here before that, but he's watched over the neighborhood since. Going about the master's work, I see. I have something for you, if you want it. He produces a nearly new admiral's hat in perfectly good condition. I found it near the docks, no sign of the owner, and I can't wear it myself. I thought someone as Mrs. Chapman's might get a use out of it. Oh, I will. Perhaps Lady Griselda. No, me. Ooh, yeah. Trimmed with gold braid, it makes a person look like a respectable representative of the Navy. Wearing it gives me a commanding presence. Oh, yeah. Thank him profusely. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Tremendously kind of you. What a thoughtful gift. It's so cold down here and clothes wear out so quickly. And it's a cool hat. His laugh is unfriendly. Excuse me? How's the neighborhood doing? All well on the streets? Every day I can walk a little further without getting lost, but sometimes I lose a place again. Do you recall the second-hand clothes man who used to be around the corner? Yeah. At first I thought the shop was destroyed, but it's moved 2 streets away now. Not only the shop, but the whole building that contains it. How's that possible? Oh. The stars don't stay put in the sky any longer. Perhaps the streets are also free to roam. I've heard this before. Nah, nothing new. Aha. I wonder. Let's invent something here. I heard all this from an eminent journalist. I doubt it. It's trustworthy, I assure you. What if I don't collect these things? I don't know. Tell me, your name. It's for the census. Harjit Singh. Uncommon name here. I grew up in a large house full of people built to withstand the heart of Lahore. My mother had beautiful rooms with a courtyard, open screen to catch the breeze. It was a mark of our family's wealth. Now I live alone in a dank cave, and it's all I can do to keep the draft out. They ask about employment as well, don't they? You can see what I do. It's not precisely an answer. I'll invent a fabulous tale about my reliability in all matters. You know, that's the kind of guy I am. Before Judgment Day, I had a good bit of confidential business in a very large shipping concern. I've told this lie before. No? You would believe the things I've seen. I'm not inclined to entertain your employer's curiosity today. I do not trust them. Me neither. If you write down that I wear a constable's uniform, that is enough. Let's let him lead the conversation. Okay, maybe not. Let's talk about your heart. It's for the census. Oh, maybe I should have been flirtatious. Maybe I could have gotten something out of him. I have met matchmakers before, but not in London. Are all practitioners here equally unsubtle? A fabulous tale. Before February, I had a good bit of confidential business for a very large shipping concern. Oh, wouldn't believe the things I've seen. He hesitates. I'm not a fool. I am unmarried. You may write that down for your census. Time I continue my rounds. Don't do anything too dangerous out here, Nook. Almost time to eat. Yeah, if I keep repeating it, maybe he'll believe me one time. It's a good one. It's good one of you here is here for supper. Neither Archie nor Grizz has made an appearance today. Good evening. Looking for Mr. Reed. Is he here? Archie? He's upstairs. Listen. Yes? I know all the old maps have been outlawed. But if you've come for his atlas, do you think you could leave it with him? It gives him a lot of comfort, remembering all those little villages in Scotland where his family used to live. Yeah, I'll put in a good word. Yeah, come on, let him keep the maps. Yeah, leave Archie his maps. Not doing any harm with them. It isn't why I'm here. Let's let him keep chatting. What's going on? I'm nosy. Oh, it is to do with his doctoring. I hope no one's too ill. I know Archie worries trying to do his physician's work when he didn't finish his training. Does he often treat people? We'll let her reply. I'm curious. All sorts. We have people showing up here at every time of day or night. Not that there's much distinction about the two. And I will say, for all the talks not being trained, he's at his happiest when he's seen to someone. So calm and gentle, especially with the children. Very admirable. Have you ever known Archie to make mistakes, prescribe the wrong dosages? Uh-oh. No, never. Certainly not. Of course, Archie does choose his moment to come down the stairs. Harjit, I hope you're well. Sorry, Archibald. I'm here in the line of duty. It's about David Landau. Oh, no. Did something happen to him? I only saw him today. Shortly after your visit, he died of poisoning. What? Died? The poor man. Racked with shock. What? Yeah, I saw him very recently, yesterday. I'm sorry to bring you this news. Is Rachel all right? Is there anyone with her to protect the house? Listen here, Archery. Calm down. The landlord said you were the last person to speak with David. The fatal dose must have come from you. Well, it might be a bit of a stretch. I don't understand. I'm here to arrest you for murder. What? Wait a moment. Perhaps Mr. Landau's own relations took against Archie's manner, and they're blaming him for what he didn't do. My manner? Your way of speaking is peculiar, love. Sometimes people leap to a conclusion for the wrong reason. I knew it was just time until something went awry. There's too many folks ill, and I can cure the whole town. Let Archie go. Where are you taking him? Newgate Prison was destroyed by the fall. For the time being, prisoners are being held at HMS Ungullet. Ungullet? Sounds like a very insalubrious. What is this? What is this game? Is this just like the is this what's the playing the vocabulary game here. Very insalubrious environment. Cold, damp, infested with vermin, breathing the vapors of the Thames. It might not be good for the health of the prisoners. You're not talking your way out of that. No? I mean, if you don't mind, before we set out, I'd like to collect a few doses of this and that. Things that might help to settle bad lungs and prolonged coughs. You're asking whether before we go you can be allowed to rearrange your collection of drugs and bring some of those drugs with you? That isn't quite how I'd phrased it. When you stand accused of murdering a man through the use of potent toxins... Oh? For the sake of your future guards and cellmates, I think I must refuse. Is Rachel all right? How's Rachel doing? Do you have anyone with her? That's her housekeeper, Phoebe. Yeah, there's her housekeeper and Phoebe and some friends from her community. They're preparing the body for burial. It can't be left unburied very long. Where's David being buried? I mean to take him to a Jewish graveyard, Balls Pond. Rachel said there might be a dispute with their Spanish relatives and that their mother was buried somewhere else. But she don't think it would change the outcome. Okay. Bye, murderer. Don't let out my room to anyone else. Next time on Mask of the Rose. What? If you want to see the surface again, tell me the truth. What's in the bottle? I don't know what it is. I only know what it does. And you've no need to lie. I'm no seeing the surface again. Archie's books. Help me burn them before they give Harjeet the wrong idea. What? There's a true story in here and thousands of false ones. Compelling, but for next time, more heart crumblance is required. Island people won't permit disturbing the gravesite. But you, I know you'll help me. For your friend's sake, even if you don't care about David. My companion is good with a shovel. Rachel, I'm sorry. I had no choice. We thought you were dead. Wait, he's alive. I was. And we need to see my murderer. The next time he tries, I'd be able to come back. Okay. There's the demo. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Mask of the Rose. All right. I still don't have an opinion on that. I don't know what to say. There it is. I feel like it's one of the things where, like, if I've played the Felder games before. I've played Sunless Skies and Sea, and I feel like if I played more of those and I kind of knew the world a bit better, I might be a little more into it. Still, it's kind of a neat thing that they have moved into, even though I'm not in the romance novels or anything. I'm not really like any like TV shows. I can't romance. Skip. Go to the good stuff. But not a fan. But still interesting. Interesting is the word I'm going to use. But anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to call it a day. What a way to end it. So how did the stream? It looks like it dropped quite a few frames today, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with it. Who knows? Who knows? Last time I just called my my cable provider and just whined a little bit, and they fixed it. Fallen stories tend to get quite wild and incomprehensible. Yeah, I do remember that bit. Like, cause recently I played. What was the newest one? Is it Sunless Skies? Was the newest one? I played both of them. Sunless Skies, and they're neat. They're really neat games. I guess I don't have that one. That was cheap. And they've got this whole like, yeah, they're very neat games. They're certainly not like that. I think didn't they make like a tabletop game also? Like a physical tabletop RPG, like set in Fallen London. Am I thinking right? This one went through Kickstarter. I saw that before, and it's I guess it's now getting its way out. But